Hello and welcome to REI 2019. Hello all and welcome to 13th REI 2019. Today we have Mr. Sirsath with us from Growatt, India. So let's have a word with Sirsath.
Yeah, hello, good morning. Myself Shantanu Sirsath. I am the technical head India for Growatt, and I am taking care for the pre-sales activities for all the Growatt related inverters for on-grid as well as for the off-grid inverters.
So talking about the inverters, Growatt recently knew a new launch of Mac, UP and CI inverters. Can you please share more details about it and what is the USP of the same?
Yeah, I will just brief you regarding the product. Basically, the Max series, that is the MAC series, we are launching in India starting from 40 kilowatt, 50 kilowatt, 60 kilowatt and 70 kilowatt. So we are coming up with 4 different ratings for this particular inverter. Talking about the USPs of this inverter, basically all these inverters are coming up with 3 MPPTs. So we are having the product in our portfolio with 6 MPPTs, 7 MPPTs. So for what we can say a cost conscious market, we have come up with an inverter with 3 MPPTs. And the main highlight of this inverter is that first time in the inverter business, we are coming up with an inverter with a polycarbonate body. The same material which is utilized for aerospace or aeronautical engineering, due to which we are able to reduce the size of the inverter as well as the weight of the inverter by around 40%. So if you consider the previous inverter or any other brand, a 50 kilowatt inverter roughly weighs around 70 to 80 kgs. But this particular Max series, this inverter weighs only 45 kgs. So you can see the difference. So it's nearly around 50%, nearly 50% reduction in the weight that we have achieved with this Max series, due to which it is very installation friendly, you can say. So you are going for a rooftop installation or a commercial installation or a utility installation. So it's very easy for the project engineer to install this particular inverter. Along with that, recently with all the Growatt inverters which are recently launched, we are coming up with a OLED display. So the conventional displays, if you will see, those were all LCD displays. But the first time for the inverter again, we have come up with a display that is a OLED display, the same displays which we are using in the mobile technology. So due to which we are getting a very low power consumption. The consumption from the grid side is very less. And along with the OLED display, we are also providing a touch button. Not a conventional push button, but just a touch button which can work up to 3 lakh clicks. So you can see, if you see the overall lifespan of a project, PV project, it comes to around 20 to 25 years. And with that much of touch resolutions of around 3 lakhs, it can easily work up to 20 to 25 years. And one more other important thing which I would like to display is that for the cooling of the inverter, we have come up with a smart force cooling technology which is dependent again on the temperature of the heatsink. So the total consumption of the fans is just around 10 watts if both the fans of the inverter are working. So if you look at the product as a whole, it will definitely what we can say attract the customers to go with this particular brand of inverter.
So given the new launch, also in one of the development, Growatt was awarded with most valuable brand in India recently. So sir, with such a recognition, what kind of business does it bring to the company in India?
First of all, we are very thankful for our customers who voted us for the Best Inverter Award. Just I would like to brief regarding Growatt's presence in Indian market. We started our operations in India in around 2012-13. So it's roughly around 8 years that we are into the Indian business. And the initial focus was on the residential rooftop. But right now from last year, we are also focusing on commercial and utility projects also. So when you are getting this kind of recognition from the solar market, it obviously gives a big boost to our sales also. Because once the inverter is recognized, it's very easy for us to pitch to the customers also that yes, this is the inverter brand. We are into this Indian market for last 6 to 7 years, and we are having around more than 40,000 units in the Indian market itself. who has crossed its warranty of 5 years and still working in the field. So again, this is an advantage that we are getting, and obviously this recognition will definitely give us a huge boost for the Indian market, for residential as well as for the commercial and utility also.
So been in the business of energy storage. So what kind of trends do you see in this upcoming market?
Regarding energy storage, yes, now as on-grid is a very, what we can say, long-lasting business which is going on for the last 10 to 10 years. So right now the focus is slowly and steadily moving on to the storage also. So when we talk about storage, there are basically what we can say 3 different categories we can say. First is the AC coupled, the second is the DC coupled, and the most important is the hybrid inverters. So when we called about say the AC coupled inverters, those are basically directly connected with the grid, or the batteries are charged only from the grid. But the DC coupled, in that we get charging from your PV panels also and from your grid side also. And hybrid, which is now a combination of on-grid as well as off-grid. So we are also having a ready-made product like that is the TLX series, TLX H series. So that is a ready-made product with a battery interface. So initially you can install the inverter as a normal on-grid inverter, but in future you want to go for the battery backup also. So you don't have to go for any addition of a new inverter. You just have to connect the batteries as per the requirement of your load. And that inverter will act as an on-grid inverter, and when the grid is not available, at that time it will act as a off-grid inverter. So these are the new trends which we can say which are going for the residential rooftop. Along with that, for larger storage, we are also having solutions up to 500 kilowatt. So if you are going for a remote grid supply, so there you can go for a inverter with 500 kilowatt storage, or up to 1 megawatt, or we are also providing containerized solution of 2 megawatt. So you can see with battery backup. So 2 megawatt inverter with battery backup that you can install on a very remote location where the grid is not available. Through by solar, you can charge the batteries and you can utilize that whole power for lighting the houses, or the small houses which are available on remote location, or what we can say small islands, electrification of the small islands, or any rural areas. So these are the new trends that we will see in 2 to 3 years for the off-grid inverters.
So with these trends, even the smart technology is one of the many reasons for the development for the trends. So how do you see artificial intelligence, has called AI, changing this entire landscape for the business?
Exactly. Now when we talk about artificial intelligence, basically it is a very huge term. But if you consider it in the inverter is already having that intelligence available with it. Because when grid is not available, the inverter has to shut down. So that is the intelligence that the inverter is having. Or there is any frequency outage, the inverter has to detect that and automatically shut it down itself. Along with that, if there is any sort of fault on the, not in the inverter, but exterior to the inverter, like on the AC side, on the DC side, the inverter has to take a particular decision that it should run or it should trip itself in order to avoid any further damages. So that intelligence is already available in the inverter. But when we say about artificial intelligence, in that what we can say that when your particular voltage on the grid side, if it is crossing the limit, the inverter should be intelligent enough to, what we can say, cut down its output voltage, so that it will not trip, but yes, it will provide the output, but maybe with a lesser power. So this type of artificial intelligence, we can say that is already being integrated in the inverter. But along with the need of the market, what else we can incorporate in the inverter? We are very glad that if we can get some of the feedbacks from the customers also, what are their requirements. So the same we can also utilize or integrate in our inverters, so that these inverters which will be providing to the Indian market, it is a future proof product. So anything which will be required in the, or the demands which are there for the future market, those can be available in the inverter right now itself.
So talking about your inverters, Growatt inverters. So can you please tell me what is the cumulative installation achieved by Growatt in India till date, and what are your future plans in this direction?
Yes. The total installation done by Growatt globally, first of all, I would like to clarify, it is around 12 gigawatt. We have supplied globally up to more than 12 gigawatt in terms of only string inverters, because the main focus of Growatt is only into string inverters. And when we talk about India, till March 2019, we have shipped half a gigawatt, that is 500 megawatt of string inverters, starting from 1 kilowatt up to 80 kilowatt. That is the total range that we are having for the Indian market. It's up to 500 megawatt inverters we have sold in India itself, and the total quantity of this or the number of the inverters that are sold, it comes to around more than 45,000 units. So you can see there is a large quantum of inverters, those are already installed in India, and I think maybe by the end of this year easily we will be crossing 50,000 number of units that we have installed in India. Maybe more than that, I am not sure. This is just a rough figure, but till March 2018, just as I have said, it is around more than 45,000 units that we have shipped to India, which is cumulative to around half a gigawatt.
So innovation has been always a key for Growatt. They have always worked around and thought about innovation day in day out. So what kind of innovation can we expect from Growatt in upcoming 2 to 3 years in terms of inverters or?
Basically earlier our focus or the Growatt focus was only on the residential or the commercial rooftop. But from next year onwards we are shifting our focus to utility also, utility market. So in REI this year we have just showcased our utility inverter, that is 200 kilowatt inverter we are showcasing for the first time globally for REI only. So this is the inverter which will be basically used for the utility projects, which is a 200 kilowatt with 1500 volts DC. And the other main advantage of this inverter is that we are coming up with 12 MPPTs. So again it is a highlight point that you will be getting 12 MPPTs for a utility project. So again, when you are going for different string combinations, definitely your multiple MPPT will give you more output. Along with that, we are providing 4 DC disconnect switch. So at a time, if you want to go for maintenance for your panels, so it is not required that you have to shut down the whole inverter. You can shut down that particular MPPT, and you can still the inverter will be working with 75% output. So these are the some things we are coming up with our that is our R&Ds coming up with. Along with that, in storage also we are coming up with solar pump inverter, that also we have showcased here, because in India the pump market is also booming a lot. So for that particular market also we have come up with inverters starting from 3 kilowatt up to 22 kilowatt. And if you look at the ongoing trend, like the Max series that we have recently launched in India, in the same way for the lower product range also we are coming up with the same what we can say configuration or the design, due to which it will be light in weight, small in size, and installation friendly for the integrators.
Thank you, sir. So this was Mr. Sirsath from Growatt talking about the most innovations they have come up with at REI 2019. Signing off, Noida from REI 2019. Thank you.